Ebitooke obuwuka bubiyingiridde byo situlina. Emmwanyi obuwuka bwaziyingirira zaakala. Kale kaakati bwe twafuna balugungu ono ne tugaa nti Mungu bw'aba atuyambye balugungu ono afuuka emiti gy'emmwanyi.
Nalweiso is just one of the few lucky farmers countrywide who have got a solace: the yam. It is an upcoming alternative for farmers to stand in for bananas and coffee, which were the leading sources of food and incomes, but decimated by the banana bacterial wilt and coffee wilt diseases respectively. Cassava has also suffered repeated attacks by the cassava mosaic disease and the whitefly pest. In a study carried out by Center for Integrated Development, over 60% of the households in Kayunga district were seriously affected by the depreciating yields of these major crops. Fortunately, the yam, one of the traditional crops in the area, has kept the communities going.
Kwegamba waliwo ebiseera bye tulimiramu lumonde ne tumuleka ku bikata ogenda okuddayo ngoga nti nteresa omusiri gwa lumonde guli enja kugenda nsima ogenda okutuukayo nga guwumbye. Naye ate yo nno baluguye tawumba. Ebiseera we bibanga byankuba tugitereka mu ttaka ng'etuuse kasita ebanga eyengedde ng'etuuse tugiterekayo ne tukozesa emmere ng'eya lumonde ne muwogo nga yo eri mu ttaka. Kati mu mwezi ng'ogwa January tuba tusobola okusimayo emmere yaffe eno kubanga bibeera biseera byakasana nga tetusobola kusima lumonde. Tusima emmere yaffe eno ne tuba nga tutandika mu myezi egyo okugirya bulungi nga tekoseddwa oba tevunze ne tuba nga tugiye.
But the yams too are not without a hitch. Traditionally, they are grown adjacent to already existing trees, which tremendously limit their multiplication. Because of the thick tree canopies under which they grow, yams take long to mature and the yield is so low. This constrains further the chances of multiplying the seed. They too are seriously attacked by pests and diseases and easily succumb to drought and low soil fertility. Coupled with lack of extension services, absence of clean planting materials, and exploitative prices, yam growing becomes very difficult.
Obuzibu obwali ku balugu ow'edda wafa omukadde nga bw'omusimba tamera bulungi olw'ensonga yalingamu ebiwuka ebyo bimulya okuva wansi ne biyingira muli mu mmere ne bitandika okumwonoona. Kati mu kumera wano amera nga si wa mulembe n'agenda n'atandika okwengerera ebikoola kati nga n'okutuuka okusima emmere nga si ya mulembe. Kati n'ekirala nga tunoonya miti nga tetumanyi nti bw'oba toyina miti osobola okusimba balugu kati mu bungi ng'oyo n'oba naye nga ffe tumanyi nti oba olina emiti esatu gyokka nga gy'osimbako n'oba nga togenda kuweza mu bungi. Naye kati we twamala okusoma kati tukimanyi nti ne bw'oba toyina miti osobola okumulandiza ku miti ng'egyo mu ngeri eyo nga bw'olabye n'oba ng'oyaza bulungi nnyo ensigo.
The good news is the productivity of yams can be improved using scientific interventions. The latest is the hot water technology. It treats the yams against the most important pests and diseases, the nematodes which attack the yam tubers at various stages of development. Researchers have also been able to develop improved yam varieties which are staked on mounds and ridges and can grow with enhanced adaptability to the various soil types and weather conditions. These varieties mature very fast and have a very high yielding potential if managed under the recommended conditions. Averagely, one can harvest between 10 to 20 tons of fresh tuber per hectare between 6 to 11 months.
If you wanted to plant your yam as a farmer and maximize yields, one of the first things is that you have to get a variety which is resistant to pests and diseases. Make sure that you observe the management practices, which include hot water treatment, 5 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes. As make sure you plant yam in a field which has not been previously planted with bananas or cassava, since these crops are also susceptible to nematodes. You weed regularly because you know that weeds will reduce on the yields. It is also advisable, if possible, to always apply cow dung in your fields, because by applying cow dung, you not only reduce on the nematode population, but also it adds fertility to the soil.
The mounds should be 1 meter apart and 0.3 to 0.5 meters high. Staking should be done as soon as the yams begin to sprout. Remove all the scions from the stakes to avoid competing with the yam for food. The weeding frequency is low and not cumbersome. Overall, the yam is the crop for the peasant farmer. For even those with limited land can grow them and get maximum productivity. Center for Integrated Development designed a 2-year clean yam project based on working in partnership with other stakeholders in Kayunga district to bring the clean yam closer to the people. The project is implemented in 4 sub-counties of Wabuwoko, Kayunga, Kayonza, and Busana, covering a total of 400 farmers. Each sub-county has 100 farmers, broken into smaller and manageable groups of 25 members each.
CDEB is a local NGO based on the principles of natural resource management and food security. And in the YAM project, CDEB looks at improving household food security and improve household incomes through the production of clean yam, through sustainable methods, and also coordinate all the activities in the project. We have about 4 partnerships. We have the local communities who are the major partners. Then we have CDEB itself, who are the implementing partners. Then we have Kayunga district local government. And then we also have an NGO called the Integrated Environmental Affairs.
Each partner has a definite role. The International Institute of Tropical Agriculture developed the hot water technology. It also provides the clean planting material, trains the farmers on the proper agronomic practices of the yams and how to use the hot water technology.
At IITA, we are specifically interested in nematodes because they are the most damaging pests of yam, causing yield losses of about 60%. The other pests are, although they exist, they are so minor, they don't cause any yield loss.
The root knot and lesion nematodes are the major constraints in Uganda. The crop stunts and eventually dies. If attacked in the store, the tubers lose weight, shrink in size, and eventually rot. Other symptoms of nematode infestation include galling on roots and tubers, crazy root formation, tissue necrosis, and cracking on skin tubers. Integrated Environment Defense, INED, a local non-government organization, has been on the ground in Kayunga working with the local communities to promote the sustainable use of the natural resource base to improve on their livelihoods. It provides the communities with extension services on the various sustainable agricultural practices, for example, soil and water conservation, and the importance of agroforestry. It was also promoting the production of the local yams as an alternative source of food and incomes to the people, and so promoting the improved yam varieties, particularly the hot water technology, blended very well with the activities.
Farmers had a problem of food, and they're already growing yams on a very small scale using the local methods. And after some time we discovered that there was need to help them to uplift their food standard in terms of quantity. But we didn't have any new technology. And besides, the quantity that we are targeting to increase, we would not easily reach it because of funding problems. So we looked around for friends who could boost the project, because we discovered that farmers were actually very interested and they were benefiting so much. So fortunately, Center for Integrated Development got interested in the project, and they developed the idea further. Because initially we were working with a few farmers. Now we're working with over 400 farmers in the whole district. They have also come in with the training components in the areas of agroforestry. There is further training in sustainable agriculture. Formerly we had also introduced that, but now it is on a bigger scale. We also have another training in group management and group leadership. They are also training community agriculture advisors. These are farmers themselves. They elect members who are then trained to come and encourage other farmers by giving them advice on how to grow yams in a better way. And another advantage is that we have now had two improved species, because initially we had one local one that would multiply.
For effective results, each sub-county contributed 10% of the total cost to acquire a permanent hot water yam treatment facility on a loan, so that the farmers can readily access it for a hands-on training and treatment of the yams. The facility is a composite set, including a water tank, a gas cylinder, and a thermometer. The sub-county committees are among other things expected to coordinate the members in their respective sub-counties to pay the remaining 90% after harvesting the yams.
Tulina obusente obutonotono bwe tugenda tutoola buli memba, nga buli memba atoola siringi 500 okusobola okufuna 10% y'essente zagula tanka yaffe. Tanka eyo eri mu mikono gyaffe ng'abalimi, nga buli muntu oba memba ng'aleese baluguwe oba ensigo alina essente z'atoolayo entonotono ze tuba tukanyizaako sobola omufumbira balugu. Kijjako essente zinaagula gaasi, sirinda yaffe eno nebeera ng'ejjude. Essente zisigala ne tuziteeka ku akawunti yaffe okusobola okuba nga tuzikuuma, okusobola okuba nga tusasula 90% yasigala. Okulima kuno kugenda gazi okumalako eggombolola lyaffe oba amagombolola getolodde mu disitulikiti. Tutya kwegamba bwe tunamala okwaza ensigo tugenda kubanga tusobozesa balimi bannaffe abatali mu gurupu okubeera nga nabo bayigira mu nkola eno, nga tubafunyisa ensigo ku sente tonotono n'okubasomesa bino bye tuyize, nabo babeere nga baganyulwa n'okufuna enkulaakulana. Naye bwe tunaba tugaziye nga tusukka mu 100, era tugenda kusala amagezi mu ssente ze twesoloozaamu ng'abalimi bwe tuli, okusobola okuba nga ate tufuna tanka endala okukendeeza ku lugendo olw'aba memba bannaffe, era n'okulaga enkulaakulana nga batusomesezza.
The communities were inducted in using the technology. All the farmers in the sub-county meet on the agreed date to treat their seed. They also use the opportunity to refresh their minds on the various aspects of the technology and yam production in general for consistency. From the hot water tank, the yam is sliced into several pieces called mini sets and dressed with ash. The ash prevents the yam from contamination, and chances of rotting are also eliminated. The pieces are then taken to the nursery and after 21 days transferred to the garden. The technology has been accepted and is steadily diffusing into the communities.
Kati ensigo eno mu kugitwala kugijja mu nasalo gitwala mu nnimiro ijja nga tennaba kuleeta mutunsi kuwanvuwa olw'ensonga bwe guba guwanvuye gusobola okumenyeka tugutwala katutwala gumaze nga yakaasa bwasa ettaka olwo ng'ebikata byaffe twabitegese dda mwe tugenda okuteeka ensigo yaffe. Ensigo eno bw'omala okugisimba wakati w'emyezi 6 oba 8 obeera otuuka kukungula so nga ate lulitwalwangawo mu nsimbe n'ensigo ennene ejyandibadde emyezi 3 ng'emmere yatandika dde okwekola kuli ku kikolo ate kibeera kiri mu kukamuka kino ekinene. Ono ye munene yali akulira mu bbanga lya mwaka mulamba okutuuka mu kukungula.
CDEV brought in the maiden seed for starting at least 2 mother gardens in each of the sub-counties. The gardens were strategically sited on one of the farmers' plots to also attract other community members outside the project area. They then became focal points for multiplying the seed so as to increase the size of farmer gardens or to be easily accessed by new farmers. They were also used in giving the farmers hands-on practices on the various aspects of the technology and helping them to evaluate the various agronomic practices for the different varieties, their adaptability, palatability, and maturity periods.
Oluvannyuma ng'ensigo ezo zimaze okumeruka twafuna okuba nti nno bassekinnoomu bagabanako ku nsigo ezo. Kakati nange bwe ntyo nafuna akalimiro kano nenzireeta nzisimbe nga twafuna ensigo za bika 3. Twafuna ensigo eya kyettumula, ne tufuna ensigo eya mbale water yam, ne tufuna ne Nigerian yam. Era bwe ntyo nange nazisimba. Naye okugenda okwekanga ng'ensigo zino zigenda zikula ntandise okulabamu enjawulo wakati w'ensigo ezo ez'emirundi 3. Nga ensigo eno eyitibwa mbale water yam, ekizibu kye ngizuddeko nti ebikoola byayo tebisanyusa era ne nkula yaabyo erabika nga etandise okufunamu obuzibuzibu. Siyinza kumanya bulwadde oba kukula kubanga gwe mulundi ogusooka okugira ki okusimba.
Kyoli mbale yam ono wemabega gemulaba nti ye waffe bwe twasangibwa naye oli alina speedi nnene nnyo okusinga ono waffe yasangwa kubanga ono waffe omulaba bulabi nti wetwogerera ssaawa eno alaga bulazi nti atandise n'okuleeterezaayo ki obumuli so nga ate oli alaga nti ye watuuse ssaawa eno atuuse n'okwagala okusimwa.
Each of the 25 members sent 2 members for further training to become Community Agricultural Advisors, CAA. These in turn train fellow farmers on the different aspects of yam management. The training begins at the onset of the planting season and is conducted at the demonstration gardens. This enables the farmers to observe and practice the recommended agronomic practices at the various stages of growth.
Tusoma buli Lwakusatu ne ku Lwokutaano. Kati okukakasa nti abantu bye basoma babissa mu nkola. Akakiiko k'eggombolola kaliko abantu 8. Kasituka ne kagenda buli gurupu erambulwa omulundi gumu mu mwezi. Olunaku lwe baba bateeseza nti ffe gurupu yaffe bajja kutulambula Lwakuna. Akakiiko ako ne kagenda ne kalambula ne kalaba obanga abantu ne kalambula buli memba ali mu gurupu eyo omu ku bantu 25 ne kalaba nga byakoze byebyo byasoma ku ddemu. Bwe biba nga si byebyo ne mumuwamu ku magezi ne mumuwabula asobole okutereeza ki waba tatereezezza.
The community agricultural advisors work under close supervision of the district agricultural officers. So, whenever the farmers have questions that the CAAs cannot easily answer, they seek guidance from the agricultural extension officers, who normally organize interactive meetings with the farmers at their respective demonstration gardens.
Twagala omuti bw'oba ogutaddewo okusobola okuleetamu ekisiikirize wano bw'oguba toyagala akasiikirize ne balugu yennyini bw'aba akola aba yeetaaga okuba ng'afunamu ku kisiikirize n'amanya nti osobola omubikamu n'enkuba bw'eba etonnye emiti ne gikola ettaka.
Such meetings also provide yet another opportunity for the district to follow the progress of the project.
Naye okwesanga nga baakakola ku nnimiro eno bali 20 abiri okujjako letwakola omulimu guno letwawera abantu abawera 3 sebo tetuggwangayooko era obumu bukyatulemedde ddala kubanga wirubalo tuzirina naye okolera awamu kukyakoze
The monitoring and evaluation function is performed by all the stakeholders. The different reports are discussed during quarterly stakeholders meetings. Such meetings are intended to review the progress of the project. In here, farmers are represented by the CAAs and the members of the sub-county communities. Achievements, weaknesses, and the way forward are thoroughly discussed to ensure that all stakeholders remain on course.
Abagenda okufunamu okusingira ddala okulembeze ekintu ekyo kibadde nnyo mbalimi polampola tugenda tukisomesa okubakakasa nti nedda omuntu anajja ku ddemu n'awaayo amanyi ku ddemu era ajja kufuna ku ki
bagezaako okulaba nti tulondoola demo gardens zetwagira ki zetwateekesa mu bantu mu byalo zikola zitya omusandi lugendayo yeddemu omusi esinze mu ki obulungi demo zezisinga obungi enkuyege ziziridde emiti naye kati emiti giri expensive kati nga ku demo eyenamalini bagenza okutuukayo nga kyapasoni nga tugamba nti baguze emiti gya mitwalo 5 okutuuka ku gadeni kati wetuba nga twesimbidde emiti gyaffe egyo tuba expensive tugiteeka ku bintu endala okusinga okugiraki okugula emiti egyo. Kati second point mu activity ey'okubye twakola twali tulondoola performance y'aba CAAs. Twagenda okwesanga nga ba CAAs abamu bakoze bulungi mu especially Kayunga district. Kubanga Misandi Lugenda bakoze bulungi n'ab'okumuliraano batulaze ekifaananyi nti baagadde nnyo projekiti yaki ey'abalugu era weesanga nga abamu bawezezza n'ebikola 14 abatali mu groups zaffe.
Bachairperson zitubasaba kakati olwaleero eky'omukisa omulungi nti mwenawe muli wano muddeyo mukwate lisi z'abalimi bwe mulaba nti banafu tebakola mirimu bulungi nga abalimi abamu kubanga mu gurupu tugenza kulaba abamu abalimi nga 10 kwa 25 tebakola bulungi nnyo ngamu kakati lisi z'abalimi azo tuzaagala twagala tuba tunuulire tuleke tumanye ensonga lwaki mu abalimi abamu mukola bulungi nnyo abalala tebakola bulungi ku ludda olwaffe kijja kuba kyakuyiga.
Mbadde mbasaba mulimu kugwa mu maanyi mwekwasa ekigambo ekyo ekigamba nti okukyusa omuntu embeera z'omuntu n'engeri gyakolamu ebintu kijja mpolampola naffe tuleme kugwa mu maanyi tusigale ng'abantu baffe bantu tusigala nga tubayigiriza nga tugezaako okubongera okubawa information eno buli kiseera nga tusuubira nti with time bajja kugenda nga bakyuka mpolampola.
Halfway down the road, the project has registered a lot of success. A random sample of the gardens in each of the sub-counties was very revealing. The well-tended gardens cast a ray of hope that the yams may after all rebuild the people's livelihoods shattered by the depreciating yields of cassava, banana and coffee caused by disease and pest infestation. Some groups are about to harvest their first crop amidst growing expectations of a bumper harvest. The vigor of the leaves and the cracks on the mounds project the big success in waiting. It has also provoked the neighbors not under the project to start own gardens. If it was not for a well-coordinated partnership amongst the different stakeholders, it would have been difficult to convince the communities that growing half-cooked yams can actually give better results.
The partners have been of paramount importance in that if I may give an example of IITA, gives us technical advice on as far as our yams are concerned. In case of any problem, a disease, we just bring them to the field. They look at the field. They look at the plants in the field, and then advise us according on what should be done. With INED, Integrated Environmental Defense, they have done good work on the ground. They help us much in the monitoring. They make my work very easy. When I'm not in place, they're ever there. They do the monitoring to the farmers. They advise the farmers accordingly, and even give us on the easy ways of which we can handle community members. They have also been of very paramount importance in implementing the project in this area and also ensuring sustainability.
Actually, they have helped us because as a district we have very few staff. We cannot cover all these farmers. We cannot cover all, even the resources. Normally we work under budgetary constraints. But this project has addressed all those problems which we would have. So now we expect us again as a district such that we have to disseminate, that is upscaling all this project to the whole of this. We have 9 sub-counties. This project has already trained community agriculture advisors. The knowledge they have got, like for sustainable agriculture, agro-enterprise, they have been trained on how to train other peoples, they have been trained farming as business. So all these diverse enterprises, group dynamics, so this can help us in other fields.
Challenges are part of the game, but are a necessary hitch to scale up the efforts for maximum productivity.
While the technology was developed to build and strengthen on group cohesiveness, it has a problem in that it consumes a lot of water. And yet, the communities have to move long distances to access this water. And so, we are working with researchers to ensure that they can develop a much more user-friendly technology which is cheap and affordable to the farmers. Secondly, the use of gas is not sustainable as it is risky and expensive. Besides, farmers have to move long distances to purchase this gas. We are trying to work with researchers so that they can develop a technology which can use local available materials like firewood, which are easily accessible to the farmers. And finally, nematodes are the biggest problem to yam production. Proper agronomic practices do not encourage growing yams with nematode host plants like cassava and bananas. And yet, these are the native plants in the area. And so, the farmers have continued to intercrop yams with these nematode host plants on their small holdings, which poses a challenge to both the farmers and the researchers on the next course of action to be taken.
Sometimes weather conditions are harsh, and when the farmers mulch their gardens, termites come up. And you know, for us, we come from environmentally friendly organizations, so sometimes we discourage use of chemicals to kill termites.
Marketing has always been a major limiting factor to the success of many agricultural projects. The partners are aware of the challenge and have worked out several strategies to overcome it.
It's advisable always to harvest by using the recommended practices, which include removing the tubers from the soil without hurting them, because by bruising them or hurting them, then you are subjecting them to rot. So ensure that you don't bruise your tubers. It is also advisable that even where you store them, it is a dry place which cannot subject the tubers to moist conditions, which may result into rotting. Even when the tubers are bruised, you have to ensure that you apply ash in the area which is bruised to avoid rotting.
We're emphasizing training in agribusiness. and the CDEV was already undertaken that, and we are still continuing with it. Groups are being trained so much so that they can avoid marketing as individuals.
We normally have radio programs at every week. We have a market at the Kayunga district where they call it the Farmers' Voice for Kayunga. So we can also talk about all these ones, and we shall also encourage these farmers by giving trade shows. So now, because within this financial year we hope we are going to have trade shows. So we shall all these people will be encouraged to come and bring what they have, because there are so many farmer people who want yams, but they don't know even where it is.
And secondly, we have built mechanisms, especially we have built institutional structures, strengthened them and built their capacity to ensure that they are capable of carrying forward their project. We have encouraged these people to open up bank accounts, which will enable them to remit part of their money from yam sales to these accounts, and then part of the money will be remitted in their household incomes to boost their economy at home. And part of this money will also help them to make any necessary repairs on the tanks or any other costs that might be required, like buy gas for the heating.
Overall, the project has achieved its major objective of improving food security in our area of operation. We want to consolidate these gains by looking at alternative ways of managing the surplus. For example, by devising better post-harvest handling technologies and improved market strategies to handle the surplus. We have learnt and documented several lessons which we shall share with our different stakeholders, and for research centers, we shall advise them to develop more user-friendly technologies for use at household level. And with the structures already started from district through to village level, I have every hope that what we have started will sustain the harvest and even spread to other areas.